Hi, my name is Maria Isabel Cajamarca, and today I'm going to present you how to prepare a lesson plan and the components it has. So for doing a planning, first we have to know what is planning. And then UNESCO gives us a definition of this. Like it's an educational planning in its broadest generic sense and application of rational systematic of analysis and processes of the educational development with the aim of making education more effective and efficient in responding to the needs on the goals of its students and society. So how to get this? Because according to UNESCO, we have to focusing not only on the students, but also on the society. And for getting those ones, we have to get into the rational and systematic analysis. So we have to be creating all the time an environment in which students are not only learning something isolated. We are talking about the education that is going to be functional for the students for their future and how they are going to interact with the society. So for that, it's really important to think first on a pre-planning. This pre-planning has some important facts, like for example, before doing any class, you have to domain the topic in the class. So if you're going to teach science, social, or language per se, because when you are an English teacher, you are going to be ready for preparing other subjects. You have to know the control of these contents. You also have to think a variety of activities and materials. So when you are thinking about this topic, you have to be starting by brainstorming and being creative, like it is not only about writing or it's not only about doing sentences. So you have to create lots of activities, which not only keeps your students writing. Develop a good atmosphere. So it's great to know to have in your mind songs or icebreakers, which let you create that atmosphere in which students are going to feel comfortable about learning. When I say be creative, is about the whole ones that were mentioned before. And it's a good idea too to use ICTs, because nowadays the students are more focusing of this kind of technologies and they feel more satisfied when they have this interaction. And also, something that is really important is to manage the age of the students. So they can be kids, teenagers, or adults, but managing the age is going to give us new opportunities of doing more entertaining classes, because it's not the same to have a class for a toddler than for an adult. And what it's going to be always found in all of the classes is the special needs. So we have to verify them, we have to create new material and modify it, and we have to be inclusive. So it means that we have to be creating a methodology that includes all of them globally. That's why it's really, really important to manage this properly, because we have to focus and try to integrate the whole things mentioned before. Then we have to be really careful with the aims and objectives. First of all, we can be using the Bloom's taxonomy. This taxonomy is going to give us the chance to know what are the things that students have to do first, or what is the first stage of the thinking, and then what are they going to do to go to the next step. And then when we are teaching English, we have to focus on speaking fluently, or at least understandable. Because as I told you before, when you're an English teacher, you are not only going to teach English. You will probably teach math, art, social, or science, which is now more common. You have to practice reading every class, at least some sentences, and the students will feel more comfortable about getting ideas. And it's great to get students to pronounce better, because reading has its main strength to develop vocabulary and pronunciation. And also it's important to control that students control the set of constructions that create. So it means that when you are transversalizing English, it's not possible that whole students are checked their sentences or their grammar by their teacher. So they have to control themselves. And then when you are teaching, it doesn't matter what subject is, it's good to use answering questions according to the contents. So create short questions that encourage the students to manage focus in the activity you are teaching. Then we have to be very clear about the procedures. The procedures have a chronological order. Generally, they are based on the principles of the school, because some of them have their own specific methodologies. We have a way how to do it, but every order is going to be different. What we have to focus on is that you have to create this interaction, teacher classroom. Students are speaking one with each other, students ask an answer, and then the teacher to groups, or the students create groups. So that is what is going to be super useful. Or you can also use this kind of SHEM during the whole class. Like the first part is going to be individual, then the second part is going to be like groups, and finally they are going to be individual again, or in pairs. So as I told you before, the methodology is going to give us the control of the sequence. For example, when you use PPP, you have to be ready to find 3 stages. So presentation, practice, and production. And this methodology, this order is going to be, as I told you before, by using the teacher to the classroom, or students interact themselves, or at the end, students create groups, or they practice in pairs. Then finally, it must have the success indicators. These are going to be established to evaluate the students, or maybe they are going to be useful to measure what the students have already completed. So when you have a success indicator, it is not only for the students, but also for the teacher, because you can notice how good or bad you got into them. In addition, I can also say that some schools prefer to create their own indicators, but others prefer to use the governmental ones. So that is what is going to be like the most common. Before finishing, I would like to share with you one of the lessons I prepared. This is a weekly planner, but it is full of these things of three sessions, okay, of lesson plans, because they have to specify in detail. So as you can see here, we have like the most important information, like the teacher, the unit plan. I am a science teacher, so in this case, I have to be I have to understand everything about, in this case, energy, which is environmental responsibility. The school where I work is Aid Academy, and they have a pillar which is called environmental responsibility. So I have to focus my class of this. Then, as I told you before, here there are the aims and skills, and they come from the government. They are actually in Spanish, but I have to translate it. And I also see the skill which is prioritized. And in here, in these activities, we don't focus on what the student is going to do, on how the teacher is going to separately. So I am not writing students' activities or teacher activities because I am included in them. For example, here we have an activation in which students are going to do a daily routine, a TPR, or something like that. But then in the anticipation, I have first here, students are going to divide it in teams. Okay, so with the icebreaker before, I have the chance to divide the students in teams, and the students have to present a rhyme of a song or a chant or something that is about renewable energies, and another team about the non-renewable energies. So the students have the knowledge of this information, and they are going to create a chant, a song, or something like that. Then after that, after presenting the whole list, because they are going to be presented, one group and the other group, they are going to create a bank of questions related to energy in pairs. So as I told you before, this is a different kind of methodology, which is anticipation, construction, and consolidation, which is CC, and it's similar to PPP, which is more used in English. But here, as I told you before, I use groups first, and then I also use, okay, and I also use pairs. Okay, they prepare their bank of questions, what is energy, and I also give them some important information for them to have in their notebooks. But as a consolidation, students are corrected by the teacher, because as I told you before, they have these questions prepared by them in pairs. And then I'm going to ask the questions, they are going to give me answers, and I will probably correct them if they are not correct. Students complete questions from the Science Beats energy sources. So it is a platform in which students are going to use AI in order to understand better about energy sources. So teacher, I feel super happy to have shared this information with you, and I wish it is understandable and easy to understand. Thank you so much.